Porsche make family cars. I'm sure you know that by now. We have the Macan, the Cayenne, the Panamera, and the Taycan. So what's very interesting is that the bar for family cars have been lowered and raised and dropped throughout the years by many different manufacturers. What I will say, however, I think Porsche are definitely holding the bar quite high at the moment. This is the Cayenne GTS, and it's quite ludicrous. There's 368 kilowatts, 660 Newton meters of torque, and it will rip your face off from 0 to 100 in just 4.4 seconds. Now, I think what's one of the scariest things, but definitely something I love the most, is that this isn't even the top of the range model. So this is not the competitor for the Audi RS Q8, for example. The top of the range model is the Turbo GT, and of course they're all like-minded cousins. It's all the same group. This is fantastic. I cannot imagine what the Turbo GT is like. But for today's video, this is what I'm driving, the 2025 Porsche Cayenne GTS Coupé in carmine red. If you don't know, red is my favorite color. So just a quick overview of the front of the Cayenne GTS. We do have the new Matrix headlights. They're absolutely insane, especially at night when you're driving on the highway. If you have the automatic high beams on, what it will do, it'll only illuminate your lane. It won't even go further out than that. It'll illuminate your lane, especially the space between you and the car in front of you. Now, if we come further down, what you will see is that there are quite a lot of air intakes, and all of them are active, which is amazing. So not only active in the sense that the air will pass through them, there are flaps that open and close on demand. The car will determine when it needs to do that to either cool the car down or warm it up a bit. So this GTS actually has Pirelli P0s on. It's not foreign for Porsches to often get Pirelli P0s or Michelin Pilot Sport 4S or 5S tires. I know 911s are typically on the Pilot Sports, but for this we have the P0s. They work very well. Another thing I will say is that for this car, this has steel brakes. It doesn't have carbon ceramics. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Surely, performance car, you want carbon ceramics. And that's true, although for daily driving, steel brakes are more than great enough. They're much more effective because you don't need them to warm up as you do with carbon ceramics. So for carbon ceramics to really be as effective as they can be, you need to warm them up, and it takes some time. And I find that for daily driving, this is absolutely perfect. You don't need more than this. So as we move towards the rear of the Cayenne GTS Coupé, what you will find is obviously it looks a bit different to your standard one, and that's because it is a coupé. So coupé, generally speaking, means a two-door. However, with SUVs, it's something new that has been brought into the industry. And look, it's been done quite a while ago. I think it first originally started with the BMW X6M. It really changed the way we saw SUVs and the way they looked from a style and design perspective. I quite like it a lot. It's a very different option, and a lot of manufacturers are doing it to give clients the flexibility to have a standard SUV or a bit of a sportier look. So this has a sloping roofline. It doesn't really affect the headroom in the back for the rear passengers, but what I will say is it changes the way you see this thing. It changes it from a standard SUV to something that you would really want to buy and daily and even go have fun with. So as we move over here, you will see that this black piece is a little bit of a boot spoiler. Now, it's not there for show, it does work. Not to mention that the piece it's attached to is an active spoiler. So it does raise at speeds. You can raise it manually as well, but that is for a cleaning mode. Nonetheless, it's really awesome. I do quite like it a lot. You do have your Porsche light bar that has been extended slightly. And as we move down to the bottom, we have the rear diffuser and the sports exhausts. Now, the sports exhausts for me are the absolute masterpiece of this car. It is the party trick. It is the conversation starter in your back pockets that you'll bring up at any gathering, every opportunity you get, because the noise that this makes is absolutely orchestral. It's something from heaven. I don't know what Porsche did. It's like they tuned up to the man upstairs and they said, hey, please, can we have something really beautiful? Give us whatever you've got. And we got this. So this is the sports exhaust. It's paired up to the 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 up front. And the noise that this car produces is something I've never, ever heard. And not to mention, as I said earlier, this isn't even the Turbo GT. I can't imagine what that thing sounds like. I haven't been in one, I haven't seen one up close, but this sounds phenomenal. Wait until you hear this. Start with the groundwork. Right up front, we have Porsche's twin turbocharged 4-liter beefy V8. It is grass-fed, it's very happy, and it has really awesome life, and it puts a big smile on everyone's face, whether you're inside the car or outside. This car turns so many heads, whether it's the color or the noise. I'm sure you can see this is a carmine red example. Red is my favorite color after all. I'm a big lover of the color red, especially God's red, although Carmine does it just as well. So in terms of that noise, well, this car has Porsche's sports exhaust system, and it is truly godlike. I don't think there are any other words that I can really think of right now that can pretty much sum up the way this car sounds. Now, one thing I will say is this engine produces a whopping, wait for it, 368 kilowatts, 660 Newton meters of torque, and will rip your face off in 4.4 seconds. That's the 0 to 100 time. This does have Sport Chrono package, so you do have launch control, and that as well is really great. So one thing I will say is that this car is not the direct competitor for the Lamborghini Urus or the Audi RS Q8. Reason being, that would then be the Turbo GT. So the Turbo GT is the pinnacle of the Cayenne. It is much faster and can do even more staggering numbers. But in terms of this car, I've had it for 4 days now. I'm literally driving it back to Porsche South Africa. So firstly, thank you very much, Porsche South Africa, for giving me this car to test. It's been an absolute privilege. I love this car. Anything with the V8 sounds special, but this sounded extra special. I've loved every moment of this, so thank you. Driving this car on a day-to-day basis, it's effortless. It is so practical. You can fit 4 full-sized adults and probably a child in the middle. It's just easy to use. So in front of me, we have the updated driver's display, which you can see in the new 911, the Panamera. A lot of the newer cars are getting this. It's extremely responsive. It's fully customizable. You can either have the 5 retro gauges, or you can have 3, or you can change it to have sat nav and 2, or just sat nav, or whatever the case is. You can even have it minimalist where you just have 1 gauge. So it's completely up to you, fully customizable. Then as we move over, we have the infotainment center. Now this is the PCM, Porsche Center Management. What I will say is this is extremely responsive. It also connects to both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly, which does make life a bit easier. And I know typically speaking, using your phone with Apple CarPlay does use a fair bit of battery, but just beneath that, there is an enclosed fast wireless charging system, which is also cool. So not only is your phone hidden away from prying eyes, it's also kept cool at the same time, so it doesn't heat up too much. Then as we move over a bit further left, I can't actually see it from where I'm sitting. It has some sort of privacy screen on it. You can't see it from the left or the right, only head on. So the passenger has a separate media screen. I call it a media screen, but it has a lot of telemetry on it. You can see items such as the speed that the car is going, as well as the G-force meter. So it has taken the passenger seat and pretty much made it 100% passenger princess approved. So that's really cool. Then right over here is our center console. It does move back and forth, doubles up as an armrest. One thing I will say is this car is covered with Alcantara on the interior, and I love Alcantara. If you're a car guy, you really love Alcantara. The one thing I will say, Alcantara on a steering wheel is always a bit of a touch and go, because I do know Alcantara does wear, and when it's worn in, it doesn't look that great, and the restoration process is doable. It just doesn't have the same look and feel to it. That's all I will say. So we have the Porsche GT steering wheel, which is iconic with all the latest Porsches with paddle shifters. Then you have Alcantara whole way through the roof lining. You have a full panoramic roof. I'm not going to open it right now. It's pretty hot. There are also 2 handles. Now, this does make life easier getting in the car. I typically call them Jesus handles because the passengers tend to grip onto them when you launch the car or go around a corner. And you really, really have fun with some spirits driving. So that for me is what I call Jesus handles. Really cool. Back seats, as I said, more than enough space, plenty legroom. The seats, these seats in particular, are really nice. They even have the GTS logo stitched into the headrest with red contrast stitching. So down to driving the beast. So right now I'm in normal mode. Sports exhaust is on. I'm sure you can probably subtly hear it in the background. But as I put it into sport, the car does drop a bit. It does have air suspension, of course. Throttle response does get a bit more aggressive and responsive, and the car does wake up. So 4th, 3rd, foot flat. There we go. So what I find for me and my style of driving, because I don't always, drive quite spiritedly, especially day-to-day basis, you don't have a need for it, but you do have those moments. Now in those moments of time, the stars align, the road opens, and you can just about give it the beans. So that's where I go down to Sport Plus. Sport Plus, the car stiffens, just drops even further. The throttle really becomes radioactive, and that's when all hell breaks loose. Yeah, no, this is most definitely one of the best SUVs I've ever driven. Now this, for me personally speaking, is the performance SUV for everyone. I think everyone needs to have one of these. I know that is in a perfect world, in a world where everyone has a Porsche, a Cayenne GTS, whether Coupé or not. But this is genuinely a feat of engineering, because it's a perfectly well-balanced family car. It's practical, it's dailyable. You don't have to floor it everywhere. But when you want to, you can, and you can really have fun. Another thing I will say is this car handles incredibly well. It has Porsche stability management, it has Porsche torque vectoring. I'm not sure if there's Porsche torque vectoring plus. I'll look into that and let you know. But this car is just as dynamic as you could probably expect or want it to be. And I mean, even in terms of practicality, the boot space is plentiful. You even have a spare wheel. Now, the spare wheel is not a full-size spare wheel, but this car comes with a space saver. Now, I have seen these wheels before. For example, I saw it with the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, came with one. So essentially, it is a wheel, and then with a deflated, very thin deflated tire on it. You then have to inflate the tire yourself. So it does save space in the rear of the car, give you more luggage space. It makes sense at the end of the day. It's just about everything you will need to get to a Porsche center or a tire shop and put a new tire on the car, or new set of tires, as you know. So one thing I do like to think, and you can correct me on this, I'm not the world's most versed person on the Bible, is that in the Bible it states that God created the sun, the earth, the universe in 7 days. And I do think that the Bible's wrong. There weren't 7 days, there were 8. Reason being, on the 8th day, God created Porsche. He had the idea, let's create Porsche. There's going to be a man named Ferdinand Porsche one day, and he's going to create a beautiful automobile. And he did. God also created the dinosaurs. And he also wiped them out, knowing that one day, car enthusiasts and petrol heads like you and me are going to need fuel. So that is true. There were actually 8 days, and God did wipe out the dinosaurs just for us. So guys, as much as you might like the movie Jurassic Park, it all happened for a reason. So that we, you and I, can have fun. So guys, I do just want to say, if you got this far in the video, thank you very much for watching. It means the world to me. You could do me a solid to hit the subscribe button down below. It does go a very long way. It allows me to get more awesome cars like this, go to really cool events, share all the content with you guys, show you what's out there in the world. And don't forget to like this video, share it with a friend. And until next time, guys, love you all, and see you soon. Stay safe.